Hey Siri, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes and counting.
Nice. Dear Signe, many things in life revolve around balance, and these last 2 months have made that more clear to me than any period of time ever before. An example of this is the amount of daylight I'm getting versus the amount of work I get done. If I get too much daylight, that means that I am not at my desk doing work. But if I don't get enough daylight, that means I can be very productive. But it also means that I get seriously drab and down, which is, not fun for anyone. Another, slightly more light-hearted one, and slightly more practical, is how much do I address you directly in these videos? Because if I over-explain and give too much context, they're not really letters at you. They just become monthly reviews like I have been making for the past 3 years. And that's not quite what I want. But if I under-explain and just exclusively address you, then I'm alienating the 1170-ish people that are subscribed to this channel, even though only about 50 of them will actually click on this video. A really practical one is the amount of ingredients in this dough that I'm currently trying to knead into a decent and coherent ball that will grow into something edible at some point, bread to be specific. I'm trying to, find the right way of producing my own bread, because the bread here in Sweden, as I've said before, is quite drab. But getting the balance of these ingredients right and even knowing which ingredients to use is quite difficult. So for example, today I'm experimenting with adding a teaspoon of sugar, because in the past I found that my doughs haven't risen quite as much as I wanted to. At the start of this, about a month and a half ago, I experimented with a bit of honey, but that just made the dough really sticky and the bread didn't taste particularly good. I did that just because I didn't want to use refined sugar, because it's not super healthy, is it? So now, tiny bit of sugar for the sake of giving the yeast in my bread a bit of nutrition while it's doing its thing for the coming, 6 hours or so as it attempts to rise and become something decent. So all of these things here are balancing acts, and all of them, to a more or lesser degree, I have not, mastered yet whatsoever. It really has been a while since I just took out my camera and filmed my day as such as what you just saw. And what you just saw was my day in Stockholm with Anton and what a lovely, lovely day it was. Stockholm is a nice city, but having Anton's company for a week in January was just incredible. And I am very, very thankful that he came to visit for a bit. Either way, let's move on to the next thing. I got a new phone. That's clearly not what this bit is about, but I just wanted to point out that it's quite nice to have a phone that actually shoots decent video, footage in 4K and all that sort of lovely goodness. I quite like it. Anyway, the real reason I'm showing you this noisy mess is that I went to a hockey game in December. I think it was literally the second weekend I was here in Linköping in Sweden. And a hockey game is something I'd never been to, and I probably would never go to a hockey game, on my own initiative. But it was fun. It was very nice to join a couple of colleagues, among which George, to see this hockey game. The reason George had bought hockey game tickets in the first place was because a friend of his was here, and he knew that friend would want to see this hockey match. And even though I don't give a fuck about sports in general, I'm sorry, George, I thought it would be a fun idea to join them as well. So I did, and it was a nice afternoon, but I still do not give a fuck about hockey. I will say, though, I really admired the hockeyers for, their ice skating, because, I like ice skating. Hockey itself, less so. Hello, Signe. Welcome in Linköping for the first time. What was that one?
Brown deer.
This here is the Unki Vector, or rather, the box of the Unki Vector. Ooh, that's really nice and premium looking, actually. That was a relatively basic unboxing experience. There we go. I'm trying to sort of fiddle it out. It's a thing that every tech YouTuber in the world has already made a video about. I ordered this when I was in Scotland for Christmas, and this lovely thingy, the Vector, is only available in the UK as far as I'm aware. So I ordered one with overnight shipping, and the tracker said it came from Eindhoven in the Netherlands. Then it went to Germany, and then it flew to Edinburgh, and then on the day I left Scotland, a week after I ordered, it arrived in Scotland. I moved on to the Netherlands for New Year's, which was a lot of fun. This thingy got shipped over to Sweden. So it's been from the Netherlands to Germany to the UK, then on to Sweden. There doesn't seem to be a plug head with it, which I find kind of curious. Either way, I'm excited to start this up because it's just a cute sort of, it's like a robot hamster, basically. It has small tank threads and it will just sort of roam around your, it'll just sort of roam around your table. And I am a nerd, so I'm very excited by that. So, I've been struggling with general demotivation for a year and a half, if not longer, actually. I remember shooting a bit of video in Halden where I said I was struggling with general demotivation. It is definitely not without cause that I haven't made this a monthly thing and that it's taken me a month and a half to get this edit ready, even though, let's face it, this is not the most advanced video I've ever made. And the same goes for other things I generally like doing as well. And this all goes back into this balance thing I was talking about at the beginning of the video. All of these things, as I'm finding out more and more, are a balancing act, and I seem to very much have a very finite amount of focus and general motivation. And after I come home from work, I just want to sit here and binge How I Met Your Mother, even though there are a million other things I enjoy doing. One thing I have been doing quite a lot, even more so than when we lived together, is cooking. And this is a thing that you know I love doing. And what you can see here is my very first attempt at making sort of a homemade noodle dish. The only thing in here that isn't homemade are the noodles themselves. And boy, this dish was shit. But I have gotten a bit better at it in the last month and a half. Although I will add to that I still haven't quite figured out how to make my soupy water not just taste like water. Somehow I seem to be scared of over-seasoning what I'm making. Anyway, that's a video for another time, possibly. For now, Signe, thank you so much for watching, and the rest of you, thanks so much for watching as well. And I will see you in the next one. Ciao.